big and heavy news day. On India Upfront, we will look at the biggest story. It's been a day where Uddhav Thackeray has not had much to cheer about. Why? Because even the Supreme Court hasn't seen things his way. He was hoping that the Supreme Court would uphold the disqualification of more than a dozen MLAs of the Shinde rebel camp. But that hasn't happened. The Supreme Court, in fact, has stayed their disqualification. In other words, they will not be disqualified. And they can, therefore, vote against the Uddhav Thackeray government on the floor of the Vidhan Sabha or the State Assembly, as and when, of course, a trust vote is conducted. Now, having got this big relief, the Shinde camp, viewers, has decided to approach the governor of the state of Maharashtra and ask him to conduct a floor test immediately. The floor test could be conducted in the next 2 or 3 days, which means that the Shinde rebel camp will move from Guwahati to Mumbai to be present to vote on the floor of the House. Viewers, the Supreme Court, however, has not completely disregarded the case that was put forth by Uddhav Thackeray and his lawyers. It has asked them to file responses, especially the Deputy Speaker, who had moved to disqualify the Shinde camp rebels, to explain why he did so and why his actions are not ultra-virus of the Constitution. The Deputy Speaker has a few days in which to respond. The matter is going to be reheard once again on July 11th, which is next month. Viewers, in the interim, however, there is no bar on the rebels seeking time from the governor to hold a floor test. And we are being told significantly that the rebels have the support of 39 MLAs, which means that they have crossed the mark that is required for them to pass the anti-defection law. Had they been short of 37 MLAs, they would have fallen foul of the anti-defection law and therefore would have found themselves expelled from the assembly. Now, why was Uddhav Thackeray so keen that the disqualification of these MLAs was upheld by the Supreme Court? Because had these MLAs, more than a dozen of them, been disqualified, the strength of the House would have come down and only those present in the House would have been allowed to vote. Had the strength of the House come down, the majority mark that is required for Uddhav to stay in power would have also have come down, giving him a realistic chance of still staying in power, along with his allies, the NCP and the Congress. But with now a stay on the disqualification, Uddhav Thackeray will need the support of 145 MLAs. Taken together with the NCP and the Congress, and of course those that are still standing with him, he is well short of the 145 mark. Which means, viewers, that the other side has now the overwhelming majority. In fact, the BJP, in another very, very big development, the BJP has jumped off the fence, and we are being told by highly placed sources that it has decided to support the Shinde rebel camp, which means that the BJP, together with the rebels and some independents, might in fact command 165 MLAs in the House. They will be significantly more than the halfway mark. At least, conservatively speaking, 20 more MLAs than the halfway mark, meaning that Uddhav Thackeray is about to be voted out in the eventuality of a floor test, and of course, if things stand as they are. Now, viewers, listen in to Neeraj Kishan Kaul, the lawyer representing the Shinde camp, who was decidedly satisfied with the outcome today.
The time to file our reply to the notice of the Deputy Speaker for our disqualification is extended till the 12th of July. Secondly, has directed and recorded the undertaking of the state government that all protection to life and liberty of these 39 MLAs, as also their family members, shall be extended by the state government.
So not only are they not going to be disqualified, but they're also going to get security cover. Remember, the Shiv Sena leadership has been threatening each one of these MLAs with dire consequences. They have said that the moment you land in Mumbai, we are going to ensure that you are in a coffin quicker than you can say your own surnames. Now, viewers, obviously the court is worried for democracy, worried for the safety of these MLAs, and has accorded them security cover. Very important step, apart from, of course, insulation against disqualification. Abhishek Munu Singhvi, who was the lawyer representing the Uddhav camp, on the other hand, questioned the petitioners approaching the Supreme Court, saying that they should have first moved the High Court. He cited the Quixote-Holohon judgment to argue that courts cannot intervene till the Speaker decides the issue of disqualification. Singhvi also argued that there is not a single case in India, barring the Rajasthan case, where milords have interdicted, have in fact stepped in. Well, with things not going their way, Uddhav Thackeray is now staring at a humiliating defeat in the Vidhan Sabha. We are being told that he already wanted to quit twice, but decided against it, or was forced to reconsider by Sharad Pawar. Whether that's true or not, of course, remains to be seen, because this is not on record. This is source-based information, but that is what we are being told. And it does stand to reason, because Uddhav Thackeray has already vacated the Chief Minister's official bungalow, moving back to his own ancestral home, Matoshri. Well, celebrations have begun at the Shinde house after the court's order, with Shinde's son, Shrikant Shinde, who is also an MP, leading the celebration. Slogans were raised in support of Shinde by his supporters. This is what really was transpiring. And then I'll open this up, viewers, to a big debate. Listen in. The young man in the middle of your screens is, of course, Eknath Shinde's son. And he was very, very categoric, viewers, about suggesting that this is not a cause to grab power, that their cause was more about salvaging the legacy of Balasaheb Thackeray, which they believe Uddhav Thackeray has also squandered, or is in the process of squandering. Let's open this up. Let's open this up, viewers, because as I told you, the BJP has swung into action, asking its leaders to be ready for a floor test. Times now learns that the Saffron Party will be claiming the support of 170, including the Shinde rebels, and will make a pitch to form the government. Let's open this up. Devendra Pai, political analyst, Intikhab Farooqi, leader of the Shiv Sena, also with us. So is Sujata Pandey, political analyst, Tushar Gupta, senior editor of Swaraj, and Sanjay Jha, author and a leader associated with the Congress Party, with us. So let me first begin with Intikhab Farooqi. Mr. Farooqi, the writing is now on the wall. Even the Supreme Court has not come out and given you relief. Save the party and the Thackeray brand, its legacy. By agreeing to the demands of the rebels, it's still not too late. You've lost the party. Why do you want to lose the legacy of Balasaheb Thackeray? Is what now the Shinde camp is telling you to do. Why won't you do it?
I would like to tell you, Rahul, can you hear me?
Yes,
Rahul?
of course, yes. I can, clearly. Go ahead.
One thing I would like to tell you, Rahul, the legacy will always, remain with Shiv Sena. The power of Shiv Sena will remain the same always, as the people who wanted to leave the party, they have gone, they have left, that was their wish. Again and again, Uddhav ji Sahib was always telling that you come, we will have a word. together, we will sit, we will talk. Whatever problem we had, we can just discuss with, and we will go ahead with that. But since they were not ready to show their faces, come down and speak, as they are hiding in Guwahati, it is not a relief actually. Now today people are saying, by today's statement, people are saying that they got a relief. I would like to tell you that is actually not a relief. That is a burden on them. And it is day by day that will increase.
No, but
let me tell you the burden, the tension we can see on their faces. As you can see, the way they are hiding in Guwahati, why are they not coming for a floor test?
Mr.
And they show
Farooqi,
up that what they...
I'll ask that question. 1 second. Let's go step by step. Mr. Farooqi, first of all, they've not been disqualified. That disqualification has been stayed. You would have benefited greatly had these MLAs been disqualified. And that's why you moved for their disqualification, Mr. Farooqi. So how are you saying that you have got the relief and they have got misery? That's not quite true.
See, again and again, the Uddhav Sahib been telling them that you come, we will have a word. Since they are not coming, it's okay, that's fine. But whatever power we have, we will try to show our power. We will try to show you our numbers, whatever numbers we have. Since
whatever
we have
numbers.
A support of Shiv Sena, NCP.
You are already conceding that you have.
We have our numbers.
A
we are
few
ready
numbers.
with it. We are just waiting for a floor test. We are waiting for them to come forward, show what they have, and we are also waiting here to see whatever happens, we will see.
Mr.
And I'm
Farooqi,
sure
your attempt at disqualifying these MLAs was well calculated. It has not been supported by the Supreme Court. These MLAs are saying that we are the real Shiv Sena, and the legacy of Bal Thackeray now rests with us. What is your special claim over Bala Sahib's legacy, Mr. Farooqi? Apart from the fact that you share the same family name, you have no claim over the legacy, no special claim. Just like the Gandhis don't have a legacy over Mahatma Gandhi, claim over the Mahatma Gandhi legacy. They don't. Mr. Farooqi, can you hear me? Okay, we're having a few problems. Mr. Farooqi, what
yes, I can hear you now. There was...
Just because you share the surname, you have a claim? Parivarvad? That's what it is?
There's not a Parivarvad. Actually, the allegations, what they put on Honorable Chief Minister Uddhav Ji Sahib, that he was not giving us the time, he was not attending us. When they used to come to Matoshri, is not. These are all false allegations. He's been working 24/7, always meeting people, always giving time. Whenever they used to come to Matoshri, or when he was at Varsha Bungalow, wherever he was, he always gave his time. And when people, whenever they wanted to come and discuss on
that
any
an
point,
overwhelming majority, more than 2/3 of your MLAs have quit you, your own MLAs? And are you saying that they've done so just because it's a whim? That they have no grouse? 39 of your MLAs are sitting in Guwahati, sir, plus many ministers and MPs. Why would they all go? If the legacy of Bal Thackeray was safe with Uddhav Thackeray.
See, we cannot make out what is going on inside a person's heart and what is his planning. You know, everyone has their own wish, and if they wanted to leave the party,
okay.
I mean, we've been hearing these stories that this is what something is going to happen, but it is not that we are going to run after them or our CM is going to request them. We've been telling them whatever problems or issues you have, we can have a word together sitting, you know. But since they are not showing up...
Sir, will you agree that Shinde camp is calling the shots? Intikhab Farooqi Saab, before I open this up, will you at least concede that they have the numbers, the other side?
See, unless and until they don't come and have a word face to face and show up their numbers,
okay,
we cannot say that who is more powerful. But yes, I'm sure that we have good numbers and we will show up.
So Tushar Gupta, this is funny. They keep saying everything will be settled on the floor of the House, but it's not Uddhav Thackeray who's calling for a floor test or a confidence vote. It's the other side that is calling for a no trust vote. That is rather strange, Tushar Gupta. Was he so confident? He would have come out and said, test my confidence. Here I am. We are going to hold a confidence test.
Good evening, Rahul. How the high and mighty have fallen. Sanjay Jha and Uddhav Thackeray come across as those batsmen who have been stumped on the white ball. We began this whole trajectory by saying, oh, it's only a few MLAs. Then it came to, oh, the better half of the Shiv Sena MLAs are with Uddhav Thackeray. Then it came to threatening the MLAs. The Shiv Sena spokesperson here says they're hiding in Guwahati. Look at the statements made by Sanjay Jha. Their bodies will return. Tones won't do the job. We have to be violent against. When one of the MLA's office was demolished, and the Shiv Sena spokesperson has the audacity to say they're hiding in Guwahati. Today he tells that if they had any problem, they should have stepped up to Uddhav Thackeray. Where was this concern when the cross-voting happened in the Rajya Sabha election and the MLC election? Clearly, Uddhav Thackeray was disconnected with the pulse of his own MLAs. Forget the public. And let's be honest, Rahul, Uddhav Thackeray is no longer calling the shots, not as the CM, not as someone running the government, and definitely as not someone leading the party. Today, all the cards, all the aces are with the Shinde camp. And when the floor test happens, and rest assured it's about to happen before 11 July, Uddhav Thackeray would be stumped again, realizing he doesn't have the numbers.
Sanjay Jha, let me bring you in on this point. Look, it's quite clear that there is no relief coming in the immediate from the Supreme Court, at least till the 11th of July, which means that the disqualification has been stayed, which means that these MLAs can actually vote. And given their stance right now, they've already said that they're going to vote out Uddhav Thackeray. Now, I want to ask you a simple question. He has lost his MLAs. They're not with him. What moral authority does he have to continue?
Rahul, there are 2 points here to consider. Number one, I agree with you that it appears that they have the numbers at the moment in Guwahati. But politically, constitutionally, those numbers have to be proven on the floor of the House. Now, I'll tell you the problem. The Supreme Court, by saying that now they have time till the 11th of July, basically by implication, and this is my understanding of the legal and the constitutional process, that because the disqualification issue gives them time till the 11th of July to respond, and after that the Supreme Court will pass a verdict. Then you have the issue that they have raised against the Deputy Speaker. Now all these matters are actually preconditions to having a verdict before you have a floor test. So I don't really think that there can be a floor test before the 11th of July. It'll happen probably a week, 2 weeks, maybe. I don't know how long will it take, but it cannot, because you need a government. My second contention, and this is something that you may ask other panelists on your program as well, the problem with the Eknath Shinde camp is that they're saying that we are going to be the original Shiv Sena. I think they haven't understood the legality of this country. They can't, because if they will possibly face the anti-defection law, and they will probably have to merge with the Bharatiya Janata Party. So the issue of the Sena identity could come to naught. So really, I really don't know what they are waiting for at the moment, because they have no choice. They now have to be in Guwahati for quite a long time. And the only other option they have is to merge with the Bharatiya Janata Party, and then BJP and this
Sujata Pandey wants to come in on this point.
The governor and ask for a floor test.
Okay, Sujata Pandey.
I would like to.
1 second.
I would like to
Sujata
say,
Pandey.
like to Mr. Sanjay Jha.
1 second.
First of all, it's been proven with the signatures, with the interviews, with all the clarifications that is coming out from the Shinde camp, that they have well over 37 MLAs, which makes them immune to the disqualification what Mr. Sanjay Jha was quoting on. So that's point number one. So, but I would say that this Mahasangram of this Maha-political crisis of Maharashtra, landmark judgment still awaits. It may be a first win for the Shinde camp, but I firmly believe that the people of Maharashtra are still looking for the real justice. And I tell you why. Because this uncertainty of the law and order situation, the political crisis still continues. The security concerns of the MLAs and their families still continues. The people of Maharashtra are still worried about that when the Shiv Sainiks will come on the street and when their cars will be vandalized. They don't know where to go to the offices or stop going to the offices, or when the trains will be vandalized. People of Maharashtra don't deserve this, Rahul. There is a constitutional provision, there is an institutional provision. The governor is back now. He must take a suo motu and ask for the floor test for Uddhav Thackeray. A state like Maharashtra, which contributes the highest of the GDP, cannot be running under a minority government. Because people of Maharashtra have voted for those kind of government.
I would like to say, Sujata ji, why are they not coming? In case if they have their numbers, then they should come up.
1 minute, let her finish.
Confidence of its own MLA. And the chief minister is not bothered to resign. I mean, at least on the moral grounds, forget anything else. On the moral ground, he should now resign because it's game up. It's game over for Uddhav Thackeray.
Well, that
Rahul,
is a
one
point.
quick point.
1 second. Mr. Sanjay Jha, let me ask you this question. The Supreme Court has provided security. And I'm asking you this question. The Supreme Court has assessed the problem. Can you believe this? You're talking about an emergency-like situation where MLAs are not going to be allowed to exercise their free will in India's democracy. And this, sir, should also concern the Congress party. You constantly talk about democratic values. You are supporting a party right now led by Uddhav Thackeray and his minions who are going out there and threatening MLAs who have legitimately... 1 minute. One second, Mr. Farooqui, please.
Calling them kachra. Rahul, calling our elected representative as kachra. Calling them, calling for
I would like to tell her that why...
1 second.
Why? In case
Mr. Farooqui, please. Don't force me to lower your fade. I'm not asking you that question. I'll come to you. I'm asking Mr. Jha that question. The Congress party talks ad nauseum about democracy. Your leader goes and sits in Oxford and talks about India's democracy, the health of India's democracy. Your own ally, sir, Mr. Jha, is threatening his own MLAs with dire consequences through his minions. And the Supreme Court is left spending valuable taxpayer money, which could be used anywhere else, to provide these people security. Should they be scared of exercising their democratic right, Mr. Jha?
Rahul, you have asked a very valid question. I would like to say with full responsibility on your channel, a very popular program, no form of violence, any kind, not even a threat, not even an assumed threat, has to be permitted in a civilized society. That has to be condemned, and it is the responsibility of Mr. Uddhav Thackeray's government today.
No, it's not. One second. Your views count for very little. One second.
Gandhi condemned it.
Yes, that's the question. That's a very good question. Today at a press conference. 1 minute. Today at a press conference, Mr. Jha, Rahul Gandhi, standing with 16 other opposition party leaders, was saying that the president's election this time is an ideological fight between nafrat and democracy, inclusive democracy. I didn't hear him condemn, like you are condemning, Uddhav Thackeray and his minions and his generals, or call them what you want to, for issuing death threats to their own MLAs who are exercising powers that are given to them by the constitution of this country. Why are you being selective?
Rahul, I would like to tell you.
Let me answer you. Let me answer you. I don't know why are people interrupting. I'll just take 30 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, take a deep breath, chill, relax. The program is not yet over. So simple point, Rahul, before I answer that question once again emphatically, I think your panelists are not aware of the laws of this country. If the 2/3 want to split the party, they will also have to split the legislators, not just the legislators, but the entire party itself, which I don't think is going to happen. So I don't think they know the law before they come here and make these very presumptuous and preposterous statements. But to answer your question, I completely agree. And I'll repeat it again. Mr. Uddhav Thackeray's government should not allow any violence on the streets, not just because
Why is
Mumbai
Rahul
is,
Gandhi silent on this issue?
It is
Why
wrong.
is Rahul Gandhi silent on this issue? This is a black day. And remember, the threat was issued when the country
Rahul,
was marking.
tell you that
1 second, Farooqui Saab.
People have been working.
1 second, Farooqui Saab. Just give me 30 seconds, please. I implore you, I beg you. The threat was issued on the day the country was marking yet another anniversary of the emergency, viewers.
Absolutely.
So you please tell me, Sanjay Jha, is it right for Rahul Gandhi to be quiet? I want you to listen to what Rahul Gandhi said today. Let's play it out. Let's play it out. No, this is very important. This is a moment of inflection. The opposition wants to create in our minds a feeling that they defend democracy, that they are the only ones who are standing up and fighting for it. They are the alternative to a fascist BJP. This is what Rahul Gandhi says day in and day out. He says this at every platform, including today. This is what he says. Listen, viewers.
ये विचारधारा की लड़ाई है। यशवंत सिन्हा जी के साथ सारा का सारा ऑपोजिशन है। दो अलग-अलग विचारधाराओं की लड़ाई है। एक तरफ नफरत और दूसरी तरफ भाईचारा और देश की भावना।
Bhaichara and nationalism on one side versus, you heard it, viewers, not from my mouth but Rahul Gandhi's mouth, versus hatred. Now, how is it, Sanjay Jha, that Rahul Gandhi is counseling all of us to believe this and saying that he stands with Bhaichara, shares power with a fascist in one state, which is Maharashtra, and a casteist in another state, that is Tamil Nadu? You tell me this.
Well, you know, Rahul, you told me about the taxpayers' money being abused. I want to tell you the biggest taxpayers' money fraud going on in broad daylight is an Operation Lotus that the BJP is running in Surat and in Guwahati. But the fundamental question is that the BJP has been spreading.
What proof do you have that the BJP is paying? 1 minute, let me bring in Devendra Pai, Sujata Pandey, and senior editor of Swarajya magazine. What proof do you have that the BJP is bankrolling this? What proof do you have? You can have a feeling, but what proof do you have, Sanjay Jha? And why are you changing? Why are you changing the goalposts? Let the BJP do what they want to. You already call them a fascist party. How does that answer the question I'm asking you tonight?
Well, Rahul, let me tell you, the opposition should be smart. They should not fall into the BJP trap. The BJP has divided India. I think everyone who even votes for the BJP knows how socially fractured India has become.
Sir,
the communal temperature is rising high.
You're not answering my question. My question was straight.
Following the British policy
is
of
Rahul Gandhi morally on strong footing when he shares power with a leader who has a fascist outlook, who has said
there has been no violence in Maharashtra.
Of course there has been violence.
There has been no violence.
There has been violence. I can show you pictures of violence. I can show you brazen intimidation. I can show you and play out Sanjay Raut's comment.
I'm saying that he's assured people there will be no violence.
There is already violence happening. There is already violence there. I'm showing you violence. No, 1 second. I'll show you shots of violence in just about 30 seconds. Nizam bhai, let's pull them out. 1 minute. Let me bring in political analyst Devendra Pai and Mr. Intikhab Farooqi back into this. Devendra Pai, your response on this issue of threats that are being issued.
Before I move on to that, there are so many similarities between Rahul Gandhi and Aaditya Thackeray. I mean, you were speaking about love. Even Aaditya Thackeray gave out a statement saying that हम प्यार से जीतेंगे. यार, एक तरफ आपके पार्टी के राज्यसभा एमपी बोलते हैं हम 40 मुर्दे लेके आएंगे और ब्लैक मैजिक कराएंगे कामाख्या में जाके, और उसकी दूसरी तरफ आप प्यार की बातें कैसे कर सकते हो? Both are dynasts with absolutely no grassroots connect and have been parachuted as the top leaders of that party. So basically, there are more than one common thing. Last but not least, we should not forget that because of Rahul Gandhi, Congress lost Himanta Biswa Sharma, and because of Aditya Thackeray and Uddhav Thackeray, the Shiv Sena is losing Eknath Shinde, who's a grassroots level leader. Secondly, I would like to say that, what is this victory sign which Aditya Thackeray was showing yesterday? क्या जीते हो आप लोग? कुछ नहीं जीते हो. सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी हार गए. और आप बोलते हो दगाबाज कभी जीत नहीं सकते. दगा दिया किसने? महाराष्ट्र की जनता.
Mr. Farooqi, respond please.
Rahul,
see, as what Mr. Rahul is speaking, I mean Mr. Devendra is speaking, I would like to tell him that the way he's saying, so much work Mr. Aditya Thackeray has done when the trees in RAs were cutting down. In RA, when there was on the lake side, there was a difficulty for people to walk on the corners on the street side. I mean, so if I count you the numbers, the number of work we have done.
Rahul,
Aditya Thackeray as a new leader of Shiv Sena,
But Mr.
and all the other parties. I mean,
Mr. Farooqi,
One second, let's not speak over him. One second. Mr. Gupta, 1 second. Let Mr. Farooqi finish. Mr. Farooqi, the point is not about how much work he has done. The point is that his own MLAs are saying that he is not good enough. That should concern you. That concerns Uddhav Thackeray. Why has he moved out of Varsa? Why has he moved out of the Chief Minister's bungalow then?
See, Rahul, that is their own wish that they wanted to leave and go. You know, I mean, that is their own choice. I mean, we cannot force anyone.
If a political party is growing, if a political party is doing well, who wants to leave?
You know,
the only implosions that are taking place are in the Congress today. Now they're in the Shiv Sena because there's something wrong. Right or wrong?
See, I like to tell you that it is their own choice. It is not that, you know, you can stop someone from going to any other place. It is their choice. They want to go to some other place.
Let me play out Sanjay Raut's bite.
But
no,
see,
Mr. Farooqi, I'm playing out Sanjay Raut's bite. Enough of a sham. I am showing you visuals of vandalism.
Many times.
Your own leaders today are going to the homes of these particular and offices of these particular rebel MLAs, demolishing them, beating up, threatening. Supreme Court is stepping in to give security. Listen in to Sanjay Raut. Please listen in. Please, sir, I'm not saying it. Sanjay Raut is saying it. Please listen in, Mr. Farooqi. Pay attention.
कहा ना, ये कानून की लड़ाई है, कानून से होगी। रास्ते की लड़ाई रास्ते पर सड़क पर हो सकती है, हो जाएगी। अब तक शिव सैनिक सड़क पर नहीं उतरे हैं। चाहे कितने भी लोगों को आप खरीद लो, दबाव डालो, लेकिन कानून की लड़ाई, कागज की लड़ाई और सड़क की लड़ाई दोनों में हम जीत जाएंगे।
कानून की लड़ाई, सड़क की लड़ाई. And he says street fight will happen on the streets and it will happen. Beyond that, viewers, he's also made, and there is another soundbite of another leader today who has come out and made a vile comment where he says very clearly that you have to step out of the airport. The moment you do, we will show you. Mr. Farooqi, is this the way?
Today, where they are and in what position they have, they are ministers of cabinet and some are MLAs, ministers. You know, the level they have reached is only because of the Shiv Sainiks. They worked so hard for them, and behind them was the face of Balasaheb Thackeray and Uddhav Saheb Thackeray and the name of Shiv Sena. And if you see today,
Mr. Gupta, okay,
Mr.
so these are ingrates.
He is making some very preposterous statements, Rahul. He's saying that these ministers who are hiding in Guwahati have reached a certain level because of Uddhav Thackeray. Mr. Farooqi, how did Uddhav Thackeray become the CM? It was because of Devendra Fadnavis and the BJP. The mandate was never for Shiv Sena, NCP and the Congress. The mandate was for BJP and the Shiv Sena, with BJP getting 2/3 of the seats, not Uddhav Thackeray. So let's not kid ourselves by saying Uddhav Thackeray has done some ministers a favor. If today Uddhav Thackeray has been able to stitch an alliance, he owes it to Devendra Fadnavis and what he's done to Devendra Fadnavis by backstabbing the BJP. Number two, you are saying that Aditya Thackeray has done some great work with RA Forest and all that. Please, for the love of God, stop being proud about disrupting an infrastructure project that would have made
Mr. Gupta, that's out of the syllabus. Forget about that. We are not assessing the work done by Mr. Uddhav Thackeray. The problem is not
done, Rahul. There is no work done.
1 second, Mr. Gupta. The problem stems from within the Shiv Sena.
Absolutely.
They are the ones who are passing a no confidence motion against their leader. In the United Kingdom, viewers, Prime Minister Johnson just faced one from his own party. He did not threaten those MPs with dire consequences. Listen right now to what Subhash Desai of the Shiv Sena has had to say. Watch this.
जैसे कोई ना कोई दिन वो यहाँ मुंबई में आएंगे तो उनके जो साथ में है उसमें से आधे से ज्यादा जल्दी शिवसेना भवन में आकर के दाखिल हो जाएंगे और बाकी जो है उनको एयरपोर्ट से बाहर निकलने नहीं दिया जाएगा। शिवसेना इतना विशाल संगठन है कि पूरे एयरपोर्ट का घेराव 24 घंटे, 48 घंटे, 72 घंटे, आप बोलो उतने घंटों तक घेराव करके बैठने की क्षमता सिर्फ शिवसेना की।
So viewers, the Shiv Sena says we're going to hold democracy hostage in an airport. This is what Rahul Gandhi today is supporting by giving support to Uddhav Thackeray. This is what Uddhav Thackeray believes is democracy, viewers. I just drew you the example of Boris Johnson, who is facing a similar rebellion. His MPs said, nothing doing, we don't want you to continue, you're a liar. You lied to the public. In Parliament, a vote was held. It so happened that Johnson won, not by a big margin, but he tested himself. Here, Uddhav Thackeray is running from a test, and Mr. Farooqi tells us, hold the floor test, because, viewers, they are confident that the MLAs will not be allowed to vote on the floor of the assembly because they will be held hostage at an airport. This is what it's come down to. This is what it's come down to. Do you deserve this? You elected these MLAs to help you, to work for you, to articulate your point. Mr. Farooqi, do you justify Desai? What Mr. Desai said? Yes, no. Yes, no.
He has no answer.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear you clearly.
Can I step in?
There is a mistake going on here.
It's not a mistake, sir. Don't pretend that you can't hear me. Don't pretend. You need to answer. Mr. Farooqi, Desai says we will surround these MLAs. We will not allow them to exit the airport. We lay siege. Do you support this?
We are waiting. We are...
Rahul, viewers,
Rahul,
I'm leaving it at this. I'm leaving it at this. I think we have our answer. Sometimes silence speaks more than what anyone can actually articulate in words. Democracy, the threat to democracy is writ large. Judge the actions of those who claim that they are the defenders of democracy, viewers, against their political positioning. That's it. Rahul Gandhi cares about democracy in BJP-ruled states, doesn't care about democracy in Congress ally-ruled states. It's as simple as that. And that is shocking. That is shocking. Viewers, we move on to